in just a second. Shabbat Shalom to everyone. Thank you for joining me for Prayerful Meditation. As is my shita, my style, we'll start with a little bit of an explanation so that when we get to the topic of the week, the meditation that is different for each week, I won't have to break into conversation because I find that very much interrupts the flow. This week we are reading a special maftir and haftarah for the para aduma, for the concept of the red heifer, which is one of the most famous and confusing examples of the system of tahara and tuma, of ritual purity, ritual impurity, sometimes I think improperly translated as clean and unclean. This concept of ritual purity and ritual impurity is very difficult to understand, and I do not pretend like we're going to uncover all of its secrets, mysteries, and implications, let alone all of its halakha. But I want you to change your thinking of it as being tainted and untainted, or clean and unclean, and we will focus instead on these concepts as being a blockage or an opening in our connection to Adonai. A door, if you will, that sometimes is closed in tuma, in ritual impurity moments, and sometimes is open in tahara, in ritual purity moments. And we will come back to that in our meditation when we get to that section. But hopefully that will give you a framework of what I'm going for when we reach that, in case it's not clear from the visualizations themselves. But for now, let us begin as we do each week. First, by simply making sure that we are in our proper place. By our proper place, I mean where we are. Whether you are sitting at home, whether you are here in the chapel, wherever it is that you are now, you are now. Allow yourself to simply rest and be in that place. Feel the world around you supporting you, pressing up against your feet, against your thighs, supporting your back. Feel the gentle air that surrounds you as you breathe in. It comes in, refreshing you. As you breathe out, it moves into the world around you. Feel the subtle shifts in the rhythm of your body, of the breathing, small adjustments of your muscles as they flex and bend, pull and push in perfect harmony to keep you sustained each day. And as we notice all of these things, as we deepen and smooth out each of our breaths, we become aware of that incredible energy and spark that is in us each and every day, what oftentimes goes unobserved, unnoticed, and uncared for. A neshama, our soul that is in us, which we are told is Tahor, is pure, residing within, creating from within, enveloping us on the outside as well. However you wish to conceive of this most essential element of us, far more permanent, far more eternal than our bodies. Recognize that truth that we begin with each day. Tehorahi, it is pure. Elohai, Elohai, Neshama, Neshama, Shenata Tabi, Tehorahi, Tehorahi. Oh my God, oh that you placed in me, that you placed in me. It is pure, it is pure. Elohai, oh my God, Neshama, the soul, Shenatatabi, that you placed in me, Tehorahi, it is pure. Elohai, Elohai, Neshama, Neshama, Shenatatabi, Shenatatabi, Tehorahi, Tehorahi. In many of the sections of our Berkot HaShachar, our morning blessings, we emphasize Elohai, Ani, Bi, that God is my God, that God has reached out to me, that God has placed my soul within me. This is a reminder that we each waken, each day and each moment of our spiritual life, first and foremost to recognize Ani, I exist, I am here. This is an essential step in understanding our connection to God and our connection to each other. There cannot be an anachnu, a collective we, if there is not also an I. And there can be no reaching to that which transcends the source of all creation, unless we see that we are, individually, I am a part of that creation, that I am called into being by that which called the universe into being. The recognition of the self is the first step, and through that self we recognize the eternal. As we say, Baruch She'amar, blessed is the one who spoke, V'haya Olam, and the world came to be, Baruch Hu. As is our custom, we try to sync ourselves, to move that I to the we not only of community but of all of the universe, to bring ourselves into harmony with it. And so we breathe in preparation, Baruch She'amar, and we hold it as the world comes into being, V'haya Olam, feeling the potential and the power and energy of the whole universe. Baruch Hu, with an exhale, as we recognize that all that we are flows back into the universe as well. And then we are allowing ourselves that moment of peace before we recognize the re-beginning, the rebirth of that same cycle. Baruch She'amar, V'haya Ha'olam, Baruch Hu. 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 Baruch She'amar. Behaya ha'olam. 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 Baruch Hu. At each stage in our breathing, as we try to find that rhythm, we recognize the in and the out, the opening and the closing. There are times when we must flow outwards, times when we must draw inwards. Each is part, neither good nor bad, neither best nor worst, simply being what must be at the appropriate time. We cannot only inhale, we cannot only breathe in, and we cannot only exhale. We cannot only be full, and we cannot only be empty, but each needs the next to help to make the process continue and to help us truly be in that moment of connection. In that moment is when we can sing and join the chorus of the world, giving praise to Yah, one of the names of God. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Kol anshama tehalleliyah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, Kol anshama tehalleliyah, hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Kol anshama tehalleliyah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Kol anshama tehalleliyah, hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Kol anshama tehalleliyah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Kol anshama tehalleliyah, Hallelujah, Hallelujah. Kol HaNeshama. Let all that has a soul, all that has the Spirit of God, let it give praise to Adonai. Let it reach out to that which brought this world into being. But more than that, that which not only created essence and existence, but created instruction and guidance, which saw that in our lives there would be moments of rupture and moments of completion, of wholeness, that each would be needed in its time, and we in turn would need to feel God's presence and guidance in those moments. And so if we would but listen, if we would hear Israel, if we would understand that Adonai is our God, if we would understand that Adonai is one, we would see God's presence in all of those moments, the moments of Tum'ah, the moments of Tahorah, the moments where we feel that we have somehow had a rupture in our connection to God called ritual impurity, and moments where that rupture is no more, where we have Tahorah. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. In that eternal Echad, that eternal oneness of Adonai, we can understand perhaps a glimpse of these twin concepts of Tumah and Tahara, ritual impurity and ritual purity. They are not contamination, they are not taint, they are not stains. It is not holiness, it is not righteousness, it is not perfection. Instead, they are simply states of being. At times, we are closed, unable to reach out to God easily or smoothly. These are our moments of Tumah, when we feel Tamei. At other moments, we have overcome that closure. We have allowed ourselves to feel open. The path seems clear ahead of us. These are the moments of Tahara, the moments where we feel Tahor, that we feel open to that. Allow yourself to vision these as being simply two states of being, just as we breathe in at times and then feel closed afterwards, as we allow ourselves to understand, to digest, to fully absorb our experience. These are moments of Tumah, moments where we feel we must withdraw. And as we exhale, this is where we open ourselves again, become receptive, indeed invite that connection with Adonai, without the confusion, without the problems that created the need for closure before. These are moments of Tahara, moments where we feel Tahor. So as we breathe in, there is nothing more natural than times where we must feel Tamei. But we also know we must release and reopen to feel Tahor. Tamei. Tahor. Tamei. Tahor. Tamei. Tahor. Each is equal to the other. Each is in balance with the other. We do not show preference to being Tahor, for there are times where we must become Tamei. When we take care of those who have passed from this world, when we give birth to a new life, when the cycle of the potential of life occurs each month, this renders us Tamei. They are not wrong, they are not bad. Indeed, they are mitzvahs, things that allow us to be propelled forward in life. But they can cause confusion when we encounter those who have passed in presence of the face of death. This certainly can cause us to retreat, to need a time to reflect. For death, we know, undoes the potential to seek life, and life is how we experience Adonai most powerfully. Being reminded of the finality of our form shakes us to our core. So too the pain and struggle that comes with giving birth. So too the cycle of attempted life and unfulfilled dreams. This cycle can make us question and doubt and wonder in different proportions, in different ways, and thus the halakha is different. But rendering us Tamei nonetheless, telling us pause, think. Do not come to God in this state of confusion, this state of bewilderment, perhaps this state of anger, perhaps a state of fear. Allow that to pass. Follow the rituals we have. Allow it to be washed from you. Allow it to be erased, and feel yourself open again, and come before God in that state, in that way. Allow each drop of the water to flow across, the immersion in the mikveh being completely surrounded by Mayim Chayim, a living water. Allow it to renew your understanding of God's presence in life and death, in potential and disappointment. Being Tamei is needed sometimes, but we cannot stay. We must still seek to become Tahor in due course, to reopen our connection to God without the clutter of confusion. But sometimes we become Tamei. We encounter Tuma for reasons of our own making, not pursuing mitzvot, not pursuing the cycle of life. In a few weeks we will talk about Tazria and Mitzora. Mitzora in particular reminds us of Tzoraat, a spiritual affliction of our ancestors that came upon them not for hygiene, not for cleanliness, because of greed or fear or selfishness or anger, so much that we would pull in and hide, hiding from each other and ourselves, and thus hiding from God. The eruption of Tzara'at would completely disrupt us, throw us from our community, cause us to wander saying, Tamei, Tamei, it is impure, it is impure. But gently, gently the Kohen would pull us back in, allow us to reconnect to the community, to perform the sacrifices, to perform the ritual, to let us reconnect to ourselves, to each other, and to God. There is so much fear and anger, and even to this day it may not lead to understand this way, understand that the world can often upset us, but we can let go. It does not have to become part of our skin and flesh. It can be simply swept away. It does not have to be held on to. Release it and become Tahor again, reminding us of our potential for so much harm to ourselves and others. But we can reattach ourselves to the infinite. We can allow that flow of Mayim Chayim, of living waters, to pull us back. Each drop in the water by itself is small, insignificant, unimportant, but together they flow unceasingly, and thus are called Mayim Chayim, a living water. And so too each moment, each pause or interruption, it may even feel important, but it is but one drop in the infinity of our existence. Allow it to be washed away. Allow it to be submerged by the rest of life, by the goodness and the pull that draws us towards what is most beautiful and most worthy in our relationship with God. And through that, reinforce, strengthen, and heal our relationship with ourselves and with others. As we read through Vayikra these concepts of Tumah and Tahara, do not think this is some ancient and barbaric ritual of hygiene. This is the deepest mystery of allowing ourselves to be human and yet of great spiritual potential. We are in life and beyond life, and we need both to rise as high as we can. Take a few moments to allow your breathing to return to a more normal rhythm. When you are ready, you can sort of allow your body to shift gently, becoming more comfortable again. Sitting in a chair, in a chapel, the distant sounds of the chanting of our service, calling us back towards the rest of our community and towards our way of reaching out to Adonai. We are Tamei and we are Tahor. This is as God made us. This is the path we walk, and we walk it together. Shabbat Shalom.